You've heard it a million times. In business, change is the only constant. But here's the thing, how often does that change actually stick? Today, we're going to dig into why so many big corporate transformations just crash and burn, and more importantly, how you can make sure yours is one of the rare ones that actually succeeds. So, what is the deal here? Why is it that when the pressure is on, when everything's on the line, these massive, ambitious business transformations so often just fizzle? Okay, get ready for a bit of a gut punch. Let's just look at mergers and acquisitions. I mean, these are some of the biggest shakeups a company can go through. A staggering 58% of them fail to create any real value. That's right, you literally have a better chance of winning a coin toss. And it's not just mergers, believe me. This chart here, it tells a pretty bleak story for any big change. Only about 29% of companies actually see profits go up. Now, get this, a whopping 57%, nearly two-thirds, see their profits actually go down. I mean, that's a tough pill to swallow. It means most of these huge, expensive initiatives are actually making things worse. All right, so where do we go from here? We're going to break this all down. First, we'll look at the real cost of getting change wrong. Then, we'll zero in on the single biggest reason for failure. After that, I'm going to introduce you to a really cool framework called the Four Systems Model. And finally, we'll talk about how you can create your own flight plan for success. Let's dive in. Okay, first up, the high cost of change. And we're not just talking about a little bump in the road here. The price of failure is steep. And you know what? These failures, they're not some random act of fate. They are totally predictable. Just look at this list. The number one culprit? Undercommunication. Almost 60%. And right behind it, you've got an unclear strategy and a lack of commitment from the top. What does that tell you? These aren't just little hiccups. These are fundamental management problems. And all of this leads us to the absolute heart of the problem, a failure to integrate. This right here, this is the critical mistake that just undermines these initiatives before they even get off the ground. This slide, this really nails it. Companies almost always fall into one of two traps. On one side, you've got folks who only focus on the hard stuff, the systems, the processes, the org charts, and what happens? Any benefits they see just evaporate. They don't stick. Then you have the other side focusing only on the soft stuff, the culture, the mindset, the people, and they end up with everyone feeling good, but there's no real economic payback. It doesn't move the needle. And that brings us to the key takeaway. You simply cannot have one without the other. It's like this quote says, to get benefits that actually last, you need a holistic, integrated approach. You have to bring together the hard and the soft sides of the business. They have to work in sync. Okay, so how on earth do you actually do that? How do you get that holistic approach? Well, that's where the Four Systems model comes in. And trust me, this is a game changer for how you see your organization. All right, first up is the business system. This is pretty straightforward. It's the engine of your company, all the assets, processes, and skills that actually create value for your customers. You can think of it as the what your organization does. Next, we have the institutional system. Now, this is all about the formal rules of the game. We're talking about the org chart, HR policies, the official procedures. This is how work is supposed to get done on paper. And then there's the political system. Okay, this is where things get really interesting. You can just about throw that org chart out the window. This is about who has influence, who has power, and how decisions actually get made, behind the scenes. And finally, wrapping it all up, we have the social system. This is all about the unwritten rules. It's the culture, the peer pressure, the way we do things around here. It's what helps people fit in and feel like they belong. So why does this matter so much? Because if you neglect even one of these systems, the whole transformation is at risk. It's like trying to build a chair with three legs. Ignore the political system? Boom, you hit a brick wall of resistance. Ignore the social system, your morale plummets and people just slide back into their old habits. You absolutely need all four pillars to be strong. So, that's the diagnosis. How do we put this into action? That's where the flight plan comes in. Think of it as your roadmap for applying this model and actually guiding the journey from start to finish. A flight plan isn't about one big launch event. It's a journey with distinct phases. You start by mobilizing everyone for the change.
Then you design the new solutions, the new structures and systems. Next, you implement them, getting the right people in the right seats. And finally, you operate for results, constantly refining and sustaining the change. It's a deliberate, step-by-step process. But what does managing these systems actually look like? Well, let's just take the political system as an example. A super powerful tool here is stakeholder mapping. You literally plot out the key people on a chart based on how much they support the change and how involved they are. This gives you a crystal clear picture of who your champions are, who your potential blockers are, and where you need to focus your energy to build a winning coalition. Look, if there is one single thing you take away from all of this, let it be this. Real, lasting change only happens when you manage all four systems at the same time. You have to actively manage the business processes, the formal structures, the hidden power dynamics, and the informal culture. They all have to be moving in the same direction, in concert. So, as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with a question to chew on. In your team, in your company, which of these four systems gets the least amount of attention? Because I'm willing to bet the answer to that question is the key to unlocking your next successful transformation.